Hello, and you're very welcome to another show of the JMac podcast. I'm John Mann, and of course, this podcast is brought to you by OrgoRetro.com and Attack Sports. Use my promo code JMac podcast to get 15% off on OrgoRetro.com and get the best skins, gloves, and equipment on Atak.ie. Be attack minded. And tonight, I'm joined by Kingscourt footballer Joe Dillon and Mullahoran footballer Enda O'Reilly to preview this weekend's Cavan senior football semi-finals of Cavan Gales and Rammer and Kingscourt against Cavan. Two absolutely mouth-watering games taking place this Sunday. Of course, they're clashing with the Man United Liverpool game, so me and Duffer will be not happy with that. But the first thing I'll say to you lads, this would have been some full forward line, the three of us. Is there any way we could come together?
I'll make room for the two of you.
When you Joe on the square ending is possible with that man.
Oh, gee, no.
So we might be a bit of a success, John. You wouldn't know.
Cavan over 40s now in a couple of years.
Jesus Christ. It was like yesterday you were playing on 21, Joe. Jesus
Christ.
Time doesn't be long going by.
It doesn't. No. God, yeah. That's the truth.
Definitely not. I will start off with yourself, Enda. Obviously, you played Gowna last weekend in the senior quarter final, and Gowna just came over the line against yourselves. But how's things with yourself, and what way would you look at your championship for Mullahoran the year gone in?
Yeah, look, it's not bad. I suppose look at starting off beginning of the year, Division 2. Division 2 would have been a huge goal of ours to get promotion out of that. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We were picked by Lara at the final stage. In fairness to Lara, they performed on the day in Bethany Park and done well, and bet us convincing enough in the end by 5-6 points in the end. And I suppose we would have probably had to dust ourselves off and get back at it, because championship was we had a bye in the first round, so we had 2 weeks in fairness, to get ready for the championship. And I suppose with the fact that we probably an extra week maybe worked in our favour, we went out and got a good result against Cavan, which would have been a huge target of ours to start well. Thank God we got over the line with 2 points that way, and then we had Killigarry, and it could have went either way. That one we snuck it in the end by a point. I think in the Gallen he dropped a free short in the last kick of the game, and it could have easily went to a draw that day. But yeah, look, we had 2 good wins, but then obviously after that, the Stars and Rammer and Gowna that are in the semi-final, the top 3-4 teams in the county are playing this weekend. I suppose we would have got them in the following rounds, and it didn't materialise. We could pick up a win in any of those games, unfortunately. But look, we're happy enough. I suppose the fact that 2 teams are going down this year, there was huge pressure to stay up as well. The fact that we didn't get promotion out of Division 2, we were definitely looking to retain our status in the senior championship, and thank God we've done that this year. So look, we've young lads there to juice, so we're going to have to just be patient, bide our time with them, and keep trying to progress and develop. We have, as I said, the young lads. So yeah, bright days ahead, hopefully, from Mullahoran.
Absolutely. What way would you look at the Gowna game? Obviously, Gowna is very dominant this year. They have a nice blend of youth, experience, and J.R. Pearson still going strong. He come on and scored a goal against you. I thought I was seeing double when that man hit the back of the net. Duffer, he's probably twice your age.
Yeah, he's a good man. That's it. He to be coming on a game like that, it's not bad to be able to call on J.R. Pearson. He was a great player in his time, and he still, I'd say, has lots to offer that Gowna squad, particularly in the dressing room. And even when you look at that Gowna squad this year, they've brought in a number of young fellas, and they've really excelled this year and gave them boys an extra injection. The likes of Conor Casey, Ryan Donohoe, 2 Bradys in defence, and then obviously they have the Conor Maddens and Conor Bradys that are their mainstays in the team. But look, Gowna, they look to be going really well this year. They're Division 1 champions, and they'll probably fancy themselves now to get to a final there, I'd say, and try and have a clean sweep this year in senior grade in Cavan.
Yeah, 100%. We wouldn't hear the end of it, then that probably is the same goes at the where to get over the line. But and of course, then, obviously you were talking about that kind of youth and kind of experience that's in the setup. Obviously, Paul Brady, Phil Brady, still going strong, and I think there's cause. I think maybe that could have been Paul's last championship, but you wouldn't know. And obviously, Dermot shared along the line, so things probably are looking up for yourselves. And obviously, Cormac Riley, shooting lights out, maybe kind of injured throughout the year, but you do have a lot to build on there in the.
Yeah, look, I don't know what way Philip and Paul might. You wouldn't know Paul is in that kind of shape. He could keep going there. Like he's unreal to have around the place. That's the standards he set for himself, and hopefully the younger lads there, can look to him, in the dressing room with that. Even maybe in future, if he decides to maybe go into management or that, you wouldn't know. But yeah, we've lots of players. Like Cor I think was a bit of a niggling injury throughout the championship and probably held him back to an extent, you know. But you know, he's a huge player for us and a huge player for Cavan going forward. And we're going to be looking to him over the next number of years to take us forward. And as I said, the number of players that came in this year, like Dahi Shields, even Darren Shields there, had a great year full back for us. You know, we're going to need them to up it again over the next number of years, and hopefully we can maybe hold on to them, like some of the older lads. And getting on myself now, so I'll try and keep on to like myself, killing a few of us, and we'll just try and push on and keep the thing going and try and get back to where we were, you know, those few years ago. Joe might be able to talk about that back in the day. Back
I remember
10 years
them,
ago.
all right, yes. Oh yeah, the one that got away. One of many. We'll not talk about them days.
100%. And I suppose, obviously, what did you make of the kind of the quality of this championship this year? Obviously, when you played up until the quarter final, because we've seen in the news this week that the attendances were very good throughout the championship ended. So, were you impressed with the standard? And obviously, it's great to see the crowds back in watching the game we all love.
Yeah, if the crowds back in, it's massive. So we're playing championship last year with no crowds. It was strange enough, you know. It was strange, and I suppose having the crowds back is a huge benefit. It'd be out there in the field, you know, to have them behind you. We'd need our crowd big time anyway. Once the thing is going well, our crowd are brilliant. You know, we'd find that, particularly in league games at home. But yeah, no, look, I suppose the standard overall, I suppose there's, you know, the 4 teams in the semi-final. You probably would have had, you know, most people before balls kick probably would have had them picked to probably maybe to get to the latter part of the championship anyway. But I've just seen not many games overall. I've been kind of worried about us more so, and the Cavs stream, I suppose I've watched a few games. It's been very good addition there, particularly during the COVID. But overall, I suppose it hasn't been too bad. But again, like, you know, we have Rammer there, Kingsford, Gales, they'll all now fancy themselves to try and go on and they've thought of Blanca Cup now coming forward next number of weeks.
100%. And games to really look forward to this weekend. And obviously, Joe, yourself, you're part and parcel of the Kingscourt team playing Gowna this weekend at 2:30 in Kingscourt Rectory Park on Sunday, Joe. So looking forward to this weekend. And obviously, you're having a very good championship so far. You're kind of coming into the cosh and you have little with talent. So looking forward to this weekend.
Absolutely, John. Yeah, just looking forward to getting out on Breffni. Any day out in Breffni is a good day. And we got through each game literally by the skin of our teeth. I think we won each game by a point and no more. And we're just delighted to be in a semi-final, and obviously a tough game awaits us against Gowna. You know, the unformed team, as Enda says, they are the league champions, and they've bet the county champions as well, I think twice. So they're flying, and look, I suppose me personally, I'm looking forward to getting out on the field and just playing ball. It's as simple as that, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously we were talking end there. Obviously, Gowna do pose a big threat, and obviously, you know, they're littered with experience and talent, and they really do look like the informed team this year. But the 4 teams that are left the championship here this year, Joe, anyone could really win it. But Gowna really do look very good, obviously under the stewardship of Derek McCabe and Fintan Riley. So, you know, 2 lads have been there, done that. But you're obviously focusing on your camp and Barry Riley. What about that left foot? Oh,
absolutely. It's great to have a footballer like that in your team. It's simple for me because I just hand the ball off to him. No, but look, listen, Barry's you know, he's been a fantastic footballer for us and for Kingscourt through the years. And look at he's scored some very important points for us, and that's been seen through this year's championship and obviously previous championships. So look, yeah, we'll be concentrating on ourselves. Obviously, you know, with the way things are going, you know, all sorts of analysis and tactics and blah blah blah. But you know, we know we're up against a fierce Gowna side, and as you said, they're full of youth and they'll ask all the questions. So, you know, we're just looking forward to getting out and getting playing come Sunday.
100%. Obviously, Joe, what have you made of the championship so far this year? Crowds coming back. Obviously, we're talking about record attendances in the last couple of weeks as well. So it's great to have it back. Obviously, you've had some great kind of games so far, and like you've got over the line and some really ding-dong battles. So, Joe, what have you made of the standard of Cavan Senior Championship, even the Cavan Club ball for the whole championship as a whole, Joe?
Yeah, the championship as a whole has been excellent, and it is great to see the numbers back, John, and even hopefully this weekend, you know, it'll pull a big crowd as well with the double header, and with the restrictions being opened up again. The championship has been great. You know, as Endis has touched there on the Cav stream. You know, I've watched a few games off that. Not a whole pile. I would have been similar to End as well. You know, concentrating on our own games and getting by our own championship games. But the games I've been involved in, you know, it's been hell for leather, and it's been real. You know, it's been real tough football, and the quality of football is very good in Cavan, you know. So look at you know, as a whole, it's been a great championship so far. And again, I think these you know, these games this weekend, you know, they're the makers of two great matches to come.
Yeah, Joe, 100%. And obviously, kind of reading previews and everything during the week as well, Joe. Like you're a little bit talented, like Barry Tully, Philly Tinley's been there, done that, and obviously Shane Gray, Pork Faulkner. So like
Yes.
we can really call on these men on Sunday, because I know obviously Gown are a little bit experienced, but when you the likes of that talent in your team, Joe, you really do have a big chance.
Yeah, listen, you have a chance. It's as simple as that. Like look at you break down Kingscourt, you break down Gowna. Fact is fact. You know, Gowna are the youth. They're the as I said before, they're the on-form team. They've bet the county champions. You know, their running game is very good. You know, they're physically all there. They're very strong through the middle. You know, through the spine of the team. And you know, then you touched it there. Kingscourt, we've been to a county final last year. Some lads have won a county championship medal already, so there is experience within our team, you know, and that just makes, you know, to me, looking at it not as a player being part of Kingscourt, but looking at it for, you know, for both sides, it's the making of a cracker of a game, you know. So hopefully it'll lead up to that. I could be eating my words here, you know, which normally happens. But look, it does. It genuinely does. You know, hopefully it will be what it is to be, you know.
Yeah, Joe, 100%. And obviously, we were talking last year, but it's great to have the likes of Paddy Mead back there as well, because, you know, he's back, he's fully fit, and obviously Shane Gray monitoring the back line as well. So two great lads to have back in and around the house, Joe, because, you know, at the end of the day, we see Mark McKeever full back for Gowna. They'll get very experienced, but at the end of the day, Paddy Mead, he's had county experience, and he's a great man to have back there.
Absolutely, yeah. No, Paddy's back to himself, you know, again, and you know, Paddy's come in. He's playing centre back with Kingscourt, and he's probably not that he's replacing Alan. You know, you don't replace Alan Clark, but he's definitely, you know, that's the kind of position he's taken forward. And as you said there, having county experience is massive, and he brings them qualities to us, and he brings that leadership to us, and a very important player for our team. And again, Shane Gray, it's great to see him back again. He's struggled with injuries through the years. So look at, like, Kingscourt genuinely we've no excuses. We don't have any excuses at any days, but you know, come this weekend, you know, we have no excuses. You know, fully fit. It's championship. It's that's it. It's knockout. You know, you win, you lose, you lose. You know, we're just looking forward to it, and as I said there, them players are big players and have massive roles for us. But there's no excuses either.
Joe, 100%. And obviously it's good in a way, I suppose, because there is so much talk about Rammer, Cavan Gales and Gowna, Joe. So like, he's have performed really well throughout the championship. He's had a very steady championship. A lot of your big players are shining, like so yourself, Barry Riley, Pork Faulkner. Everyone here really is having a good year. There's not much talk about you. There's not much hype up in Kingscourt there. So it really does suit us at the minute, Joe.
Yeah, look, we definitely will come in probably an underdog as such, because you know, the other teams that have been probably performing that wee bit better than us, and we know to be in with a shot against Gowna this weekend, we have to seriously up our performance even from the last day, and that's it. It's as simple as that. You have to step up to the mark, and if you don't, you know, you get it handed to you. So. But yeah, look at you know, we've been building every game, and that's it. You know, you have to up the tempo now, and see what happens, as the fella says.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, it's great to be back in the likes of Kingston McBride Park for all these games, Joe. And obviously, it's been a tough year with the COVID and people not being allowed out the games and everything that went with it, Joe. So, how good of a feeling is it for like even yourself? I know you've kind of had injuries in the last couple of years, but be back fit, playing Kingston McBride Park. It's great to see crowds in again. So, how good of a feeling is to be back? I suppose doing the normal things again that we all love.
It's an unbelievable feeling, and it doesn't matter any game you play, league or championship, and having a bit of a crowd and the sport you're on, that feeling, and I suppose personally, with injuries and that, it's great to be back and to be able to experience that again, and any day you do experience that is a good day. And as I said, putting that now this weekend, getting out on Breffni Park, that they are special days. Even win, lose or draw this weekend or whatever happens, whatever's the be's the be. But getting out and getting on Breffni and with the crowd back, it's a great feeling, and it's something that I personally will look forward to, and just hopefully enjoy it as much as I can.
What have you made of the standard of the kind of football in the championship this year as well? Obviously, because you have been alluding to the fact that you've got a few games on the Cavan stream, and maybe you've got into a few games, watched your club Kingscourt there as well. So what have you made of obviously the standard this year?
I genuinely think the standard's high, and I've watched other teams play, and even as Cavan and Crusherlocks and the Gales and Rammer, and it is high standard. They're moving the ball well. It seems to be fairly attacking football for the most of it. Obviously, you have to be defensively set up and things like that. But I think that there's been relatively high scores, and we've seen some excellent scores. And I think our own Barry, as you said there, you touched on it earlier. Barry went viral there a couple of weeks ago with a left foot. Probably ended us mommy talking about this one, but that. But I suppose I can only speak on what I've seen, but it has been great scores like that, and the standard. There is a great standard within Cavan, So hopefully that will keep going now this weekend and right through, whether we're there or not.
It's better left foot Barry or Enda, Joe.
Oh, Enda, surely. No, I can't. Barry's a good club man. I can't go away from Barry.
Obviously, we have seen yourself kind of maybe step away from the county in the last couple of years. I know Pork Falkner's heavily involved with the county in the last couple of years, but Joe, it is really, really essential and good to have the likes of Shane Gray, Paddy Mead, yourself, Barry Riley, Philly Tinley about the club, as well the last couple of years, Joe, because obviously you're top class players. The county's a massive commitment, so to have the likes of yourselves around the club scene, it's going to spur us on.
Yeah, look, it is. I think to be honest with you, John, we're just happy to be still playing. The bodies are allowing us to be still at it, And look, maybe they do appreciate us being there. We definitely appreciate representing Kingscourt at any day of the week, and being on the field. It's as simple as that, really. But yeah, look, and I've been lucky that there is a good bunch of lads there, and has been, and I'm lucky to be part of that there and to playing with them fellas, So look at hopefully that bit of experience can help us, this weekend. We'll be calling on it for sure. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, look at it's something that you relish, all right.
And obviously, Gowna, he's going to be coming up against the men from Gowna this weekend, Joe. So it's going to be it's an absolutely intriguing game. It's a really 50-50. So you're looking at the likes of, as we were alluding to, Mark McKeever, Oisin Pearce, and Keaton Madden, and just to name a few, Joe, massive threats this weekend. But look, it's going to be a very tight game. Gowna, they're on paper they're favourites, but years are coming into the cost. They're probably the underdogs, which probably suits us. But looking at Gowna, what's impressing you about them so far, Joe?
Yeah, look, Gowna have it all, really. They have the youth, they've strength and power. They're tackling, they're moving the ball. I'm actually very impressed with them and how they're playing currently. So we've a serious task ahead of us, but I like, as I said there, they're strong up the middle. And that's been, Gowna have been building over the last couple of years, and they've been thereabouts, getting out of the groups, and I think they got bet, was it the quarterfinal last year, that, they've been thereabouts, and they've been building. And look at that's it. They are a serious side. You know, they've as I said, they've been the on-form team, and they've won the league, and they've bet the county champions. You know, I think twice. And maybe quote me if I'm wrong. You know, did they beat them? You know, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe once. Okay, so what that's what I'm saying. They've proved themselves. So that's what we're up against. And as I said, you know, that's it. You have to prepare for that. You know, that's it. They are a very good outfit.
100%. And obviously, it's so vital. Obviously, have that experience in the kind of youth, and we have referenced Jer and Mark still playing. But like when you've about 10 million Maddens in that team, like you nearly lose count of how many's involved there at the minute, Joe. So you know, when you have that blend of experience, it is so vitally important. But at the end of the day, use that blend of experience. So that's probably why it's such an intriguing battle.
It is, yeah. Look at it. Look at it. As I said, hopefully it'll be the makings of a good game, and it lives up to what is expected of it. As you said, look at the Cavan, the traditional names and the Bradys and you know, as you said there, Mark McKeever and these lads. Look at they've everything going with them, you know. So that, but look at us. We have plenty of experience too, and that's it. It's just the two teams coming together now and see what happens, you know.
Would Mark and Jer be good lads for the county, or is it too late?
And you can answer that.
He's asking Joe. He's asking you, Joe.
I tell you, I wouldn't say no to them anyway.
Or Division 4, we'll take it you can get. Enda, yourself, Kingscourt against Cavan this weekend, a really exciting game to look forward to. It's a 50-50. You're elated with talent. It's probably the game of the weekend. I know Gales are rammer, but you know the stars are really coming through. Mind the pun, but looking forward to this one this weekend, Duffer.
Yeah, absolutely. Two good traditional teams in senior grade. It's very very hard to call. You know, I suppose I haven't played them the last couple of games. You're probably looking at in the last number of years, Kingscourt probably the more experienced side overall. I know there's championship medals in that Kingscourt team, and obviously last year's final and it going to replay will definitely stand to the Kingscourt lads. They've introduced a number of young lads there over the last few years. I think our lads might have played them in 2017 in a Division 2 championship final. They were Raleigh Gales and Mulhorn in Breffni Park, and I think we might pip them on the day, but they've introduced a number of lads there from that team, I think, and they've stepped up massively. The Kingscourt, that Kingscourt side, but yeah, it's going to be difficult to call. Like as I've alluded to earlier, you know, Cavan have them number of young lads as well, and obviously McKeever and Pearson, Ronan Bannon, these lads, and they're going really well. You know, they're flying. It's going to be really really hard to call, and I'd get it hard to call it now at the minute, to be honest with you.
100%. And obviously looking at this man's team, Kingscourt, and they are little talent and experience. We've seen Barry Riley, he's in flying form at the minute, so there's a lot to look for in this Kingscourt team. It's a potential championship winning team, but as I said, there's 4 teams that really could go on and win it. It's a really hard championship to call, but it's a very strong Kingscourt team, lit with talent, Enda, so they'll be thereabouts.
Absolutely, yeah. They've got every line in the field. They've got men that have played for Cavan and are, you know, championship medals in their back pocket, and you know, they're littered across the field, and they have experience, and again they have the youth as well. But yeah, look, I suppose they've match winners. You know, Barry, as I've seen already this year, and that man on the screen here beside me, Joe, you know, they're score getters. You know, and Cavan will need to keep an eye on them this weekend. You know, if they're going to have a say in winning at the finalists. You know.
100%. Obviously, how important is it to kind of have your kind of maybe former county players or lads that kind of pulled away from the county panel involved in your club team end? Because you know, as I was saying to Joe, like it kind of lifts the lads around the team. It's a good incentive for the rest of the lads. It's great to have them involved. So how important is it to maybe even from your point of view to have the county lads around the club team, because it really does lift standards in training and drives the rest of the lads on?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, to have anyone in on a county panel, whether it be under 20 or senior, is huge for the club. Absolutely huge. You know, just I suppose from the habits that they would, you know, learn and develop, even being in on the squad. You know, obviously from the nutrition side of it, the training side of it, conditioning, strength and conditioning, they're all massive in the game now. So anything that they can pick up from being in at a high level is hugely beneficial, and if they can bring it back and kind of implement them and share whatever they've learned with a group of lads at club level, is huge. You know, obviously you're in there as well, playing with the best players in Cavan, and you're training with the best players in Cavan. And I suppose having Cavan won the Ulster Championship in 2020, that experience alone will be huge for each of them players that have come back then, and you know, to bring it back to their clubs, it is huge for everyone else in the panel, and especially in the club, you know.
It's a big thing for Kingscourt this year as well, and obviously with Rammer, Cavan, Gales and Gowna really coming in as favourites. So as I said to Joe, it really does suit them. There's not a whole pile of hype, there's not much talk going on in Kingscourt, and it really does suit them. And obviously all the noise seems to be about Gowna these days, Enda. So you know, it's a good thing for Kingscourt these days.
Yeah, I think I've never seen a man to big up the other team before a semi-final as what Joe done there in the previous 5 minutes before. He done a really good job. But look, you know, it probably does suit Kingscourt. You know, as I think Joe said earlier, no, they're just getting through games. You know, they're getting through games, doing enough, getting the job done. And I know Joe, they're probably looking to let the leash off this weekend, you know, to catch fire this weekend. I suppose it's timing nearly more than anything else, you know, this weekend, and obviously with the county final, if they manage to get that far. But, you know, they're probably timing it well, you know, getting through games, doing enough, getting the job done, doing a professional job, you could call it. And I suppose Joe will probably tell you himself they're looking now to unleash this weekend and to get across the line to another county final.
And to tell me about Barry Riley, because obviously that point he scored a couple of weeks ago, he just seems like such a relaxed lad. He looks like a lad that would just be rather home, like milking the cows or just taking it easy. Yeah, so a very relaxed character, probably Cavan's version earlier of Jeremy Connolly.
Class footballer, to be honest with you. You know, probably one of the better footballers that I've played with in my footballing career. A class footballer, good fella too. To be honest with you. Most of the Kingscourt lads are good fellas. They're humble lads, in fairness to them, and you know, they've been there and done that. I'm not just saying that now. In fairness, they have been there and done that within club football and circles in Cavan over the last 10 years. Anyway, since I've been around, they've been thereabouts in league and senior championship. And I suppose us and ourselves, Mullahoran and Kingscourt, have always had really good encounters and tight encounters in championship football. And you know, they're a good traditional club. You'd have to respect them for everything they've done on the football field. And yeah, it's just answered. Barry's a match winner. You know, I think in the first county final last year, he was exceptional. He must have maybe kicked 6-7 points. Could have been off in play. If memory serves me right, he was probably the best footballer on the field. He's just a natural. It's in the family. It's in the blood. Yeah, definitely a match winner, and his free taking alone as well, his vision on the ball, his awareness of what's going on around him. Yeah. He just sees that pass ahead. He sees what's going on around him. He has in his head where he wants to put the ball, and you know, once there's a free inside 30 meters, 45 meters, you know, you bank on Barry to execute and put it over the bar. He's that good. And as I said, you know, Gowna are going to have to cut the fouling down or keep it to a minimum this weekend, because he is just, you know, when he can get one or two off the board, you know, he rarely miss. You know, he's that good.
And as well, of course, Pork Faulkner, Mr. All-Star for Cavan last year. He had a serious year for Cavan, and Kingscourt, like Joe was saying, will be looking to him for this weekend. A serious man to have about the team. He put his head where you wouldn't put a foot. Just an absolute brick of a man. And so they'll need every bit of Pork Faulkner this weekend, Enda.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, he's the powerhouse in the middle of the field. He's the legs. A big leader in that Kingscourt team. You know, the boys are going to look to him around the middle. To obviously to carry the fight to Gowna. We're looking forward to the battle maybe with Conor Brady and Faulkner. Through county men. That'll be a good battle there. I suppose the boys will run into it a couple of times throughout the 60 minutes, I'm sure, over the course of the game. But yeah, look, he's an all-star. The last couple of years, he's been a huge player for Cavan since he's been introduced after under 21 in 2014. A huge player. He's filled out his condition. I think I've seen a photo there recently at Memories on Facebook. I know the two of us were young men at the time. You know, in 2012, but just the complete change in that man. You know, from an 18-year-old now to 27, 28, he's in so unreal, Nick. You know, he's a huge man, and again, he's gonna, as the boys said, he's gonna, you know, be a huge player this weekend, and Kingscourt boys are gonna look to him, you know, to be a powerhouse in the middle and carry the fight down at the weekend.
Let's talk about the neighbours, Stuffer. The good old neighbours, Gowna. You just played them at Breffley Park a couple of weekends ago. The lights went off. and what was going on? What's the verdict in this game team?
To be honest with you, I was hoping the lights might come back on. Yeah, I know. Look, yes, I suppose we knew coming into that game it was going to be a big ask. The form team at the minute in Cavan, the league champions, they're going well. They went through the group unbeaten. But I suppose our games with Mullingar again are taking nearly on a life of their own. And we thought it might be closer. Maybe we were disappointed with how it finished in the end, obviously. Look, we knew going into it was going to be a huge ask. I suppose we started poorly. We went 6-1 down. Gowna, went through the paces fairly quick, rattled off 6 points, and we started to slow it down a bit and break up their momentum. Probably suited us a bit more. We managed to get it back crawl the way back, and managed to win at halftime 6-4. And I suppose during that period where we got them 3 scores to get back 6-4, we probably had a couple of goal chances that we didn't take. And in championship football, any day you go out, when you get goal chances, you need to be converting. You need to be clinical. And even if we got one of them, we could have been going in at halftime, a point up. May have not deserved that, but it could have been a different game. You don't know, but look, Gowna fully deserved their win. They came out the second half, and they tagged on scores, even with TJ Fitch, being a man down. But they tagged their scores on hugely. One of our men got a black card, and they just completely took off from there. And even with the lights going out, they took over again from where they left off after that. There was no let up with them, and fair play to them. No hard feelings at all. They're form side, they're going well, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on now this weekend.
As I said on Twitter, trust the Cavan would not be paying the electricity bills, lights coming out, but
yeah.
Jeez, if all nice for it to happen. So, and what's impressed me most about this Gowna team, because obviously, as I was saying to Joe, like, they're littered with talent, and obviously, you've Jared Pearson and Mark McKeever still trucking along, and but obviously you've first-hand experience of them. So is it the fitness? Is it obviously Derek McCabe and Fintan Riley love the line? Or what's really impressive about Gowna? Because they did have a very good championship last year, but this year they're really coming into their own.
Yeah, look, as Joe said, they're kind of coming around the last 2-3 years in particular. 2018 they were just pipped after replay by Cristelaw in the semi-final, so they're not that far away. I suppose this year they just everything seems to be just clicking for them. Across the field they look fairly solid. But the biggest thing for me I found was the few lads they've introduced. They just seem to be playing, no pressure at all. The shackles are off. They're going for it in games. And the young lads are huge for them at the minute. They're bringing an injection there. You can see the likes of Mark McKeever there. Ronan Bannon goals. They're feeding off that, and they're just playing with abandon. They've got good forwards as well. Obviously Conor Madden, Robbie Fitch, O'Sheen's coming off the bench there. They're going to take serious watching. But they seem to rotate a lot. They've got big men across the middle there. Like Conor can play inside. He can go out in the middle and carry ball. We've got young Donoghue there. Conor Casey wears 15, but never really plays in there, only now and again. You've got Robbie there that can come out around the middle and play inside as well. They've got a number of options there where lads can go out around the middle and whether they can go inside then as well. But they seem to rotate a lot, and I suppose they've got match winners as well. They'll lads play inside. They've got match winners then with O'Sheen and Conor Madden, these lads. But they're getting a lot of goals as well. I find, particularly after water breaks, they're getting a lot of goals. They seem to. I think they've got maybe bar our game. I think they maybe have 2 to 3 goals maybe in most games in the championship. I think they got 3 against Shercock, 2 against Cristelaw. We kept them to a goal. We said going into it, maybe keeping the goals out would be a huge way, or go a long way to beating Cship. But they seem to target, getting a lot of goals. And I said the match winners, as I've already alluded to. But their youth is the big thing. Big thing for me is their young lads coming in, just playing with abandon, playing with no shackles, no pressure, and they're driving them lads on big time.
100%. Obviously, a lot of people are saying like if it's not next year, it'll be the following year. And maybe Gowna's proven a lot of people wrong as well, and because like a lot of people are saying, sure, the Gales, Rammer, and coasted this year, but Gowna really do seem to be proving a lot of people wrong. They're sticking to their task. They've had some amazing championship performances. I watched the game against Lacken, they just blew them away as well. So they're proving people wrong. They have the players this year, and it could be this year, if not next year.
Yeah, could be the case. Yeah, the shoot managers there, Dermot McCabe, Fintan Riley, and obviously the brother Seamus McCabe is involved as well. So yeah, they're really pushing hard this year. they're young enough. Maybe if they snuck one, they might sneak a few. You know, you never know. But it's hard to call that anything because the championship is so open. You know, the four teams there, anyone could beat anyone, and even you had, you know, like Chris Law into that as well. There, like, you know, just new winner maybe again this year. So, it's hard to call. You know.
Mm-hmm. You were referencing obviously the youth teams have become true. They've had a real focus on the underage level and kind of developing players and everything that went with it. So how important is it to kind of develop a youth and bring the young players up, because it seems to be really suiting and benefiting Cavan really well, Linda?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've been at minor level and probably under 17, under 15. They've been joining with Lacken, and they would have been Southern Gales. So I suppose a lot of players will have come through off that development, and I suppose that's been huge for Gowna. But again, look at, you know, they have their tradition there as well, and a lot of their fathers would have played for Gowna and would have won championships in the 90s. So, you know, they might have gone away there for a period of time since, and they haven't won it since 2002, haven't been in the final since 2007. But you know, they're young lads, you know, the Hartons, the Bradys, you know, their son, they're all coming around again, and you know, it would be drummed into them about, you know, championships and winning championships in Gowna. So, you know, they have the tradition and they have the want to do it. So, you know, Gowna are going to be around for a long time to come.
You love that, I'd say. You love that up in Mullardy's.
It's just the way it is, you know. Hopefully we won't be too far away either, you know. But, you know, we just have to get on and accept it and accept the challenge, I suppose. That's it.
100%. And if you were to call it, who would you pick, Enda?
It's going to be very, very, very close.
Come on now,
very, very close. Honest to God, having played the two of them, you know, I think, you know, Kinks were having the final experience last year, and I think that they've been doing a professional job, I suppose, or just getting enough to get to this stage. I think their experience maybe of last year's final might stand to them, and they might just, the experienced boys with championship medals in their pockets, might just stand to Kingsford.
You're only saying that because I'm here.
I wouldn't be one bit surprised if it went to a draw and a replay. Or is it finished in the night, John? I think it's a replay, is it?
I think so. Does it have to finish in the night, Joe? Sure,
I don't know. I haven't. I didn't even read in that far, lads.
Jeez, the county board haven't the major wear, Joe. I'm shocked.
Very difficult to call.
No replays. No lose. That's it.
Would be a fan of replays myself. Such an anti-climax. Sorry when you win the replay though.
100%. Lads, that's that game covered. We've one more mouthwatering game. 4:30, Gael Cavan against Ramor United. It's a bit of a disaster. Man United, Liverpool, 4:00. But look, it's first world problems, and isn't it really a disaster? But we'll look ahead to this game. Ramor, Cavan Gales. We focus in on Ramor first, Joe. What threat do Ramor pose? Because James Brady is just absolutely shooting lights out. Brother Jack, center half back. Later for talent. I've been reading James McEnroe, Conor Bradley's transferred. Damien Barkley seems to be back from injury, but they're still trucking along. They've the potential of maybe fielding 2 or 3 senior teams, and things are moving well up in Virginia.
Yeah, you know, again, just saying what Enda was talking about earlier, you know, like I wouldn't have even read into a whole pile. You know, the information you threw at me there is probably the first I kind of heard of it. But one thing that strikes me with Ramor and with Cavan Gales is their depth. As you just touched on it there, you know, after playing intermediate championship, you know, that they have serious numbers and quality footballers, you know, and both teams have that. Cavan Gales have that, and so have Ramor. You know, I genuinely couldn't pick out individual players or even start a conversation about that or where they're going to, you know, win the battles. I think there are 2 teams that could really go at each other, and it could be a quite a high scoring game. You'd love to see. You know, I hope they don't. I hope that them 2 teams don't go defensive. I hope they go at it, and you know, it would be the makings of actually a great footballing game. You know, 2 really good footballing teams can obviously mix it as well, but very skillful. You know, high quality players and depth. You know, strength and depth there, but on both sides. You know, I couldn't, to answer your question, I couldn't even you know, start singling out Ramor and saying that, you know, they're going to be this, that, and the other. Just to me, the 2 teams have serious strength in numbers, and at that, quality numbers as well, quality footballers.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, it's an intriguing thing for Rama there as well, because Jack Brady, centre half back, we would have seen him play for Cavan in the full forward line all throughout the years, Joe, because he's been playing some absolutely incredible stuff from centre half back. And if you've got to watch any of the games, he's absolutely flying. He scored a goal the last day against Ballina. He just ran the whole pitch. Yes. He's flying back at centre half back. I thought he would have just been a good, him and James Brady maybe inside. That would have been a good, his brother James inside. But he's flying. It's suited him well, and things are going well for Jack Brady.
Yeah, Jack's a super footballer. Like, Jack is very, like, I played with Jack, underage, and Jack, and they'll tell you as well, he's extremely accurate, and that's probably what's helped him in centre back. I'd say he's getting the ball. He probably is a link man, in that role. Obviously he's strong as well, a good tackler, Jack. But his accuracy and his kicking is second to none, and he knows where the post is and where the net is, and that's probably his biggest attribute, for that Rammer team.
100%, and obviously Rammer won it in 2016 as well, the senior championship 2016, Joe. So to have that experience, obviously yourselves, you've experienced of winning championships as well. So how important is to have that kind of skin in the game? You've been there, done that, and obviously Rammer, a big push to win it this year. 3 other really good teams left, but Rammer, they really will be going home for it this year.
Yes, absolutely, and I remember even back then in 2016, the Rammer were going very well, and again, bit like this Cavan team that's coming along now. Had plenty of youth and no fear, and look, that's it. They will call back to that, and that'll be a major factor to them. But look at that's the past is the past. That's it. I don't know if it's gonna it will, having that experience is great, but you still have to go out and perform.
100%, and obviously we referenced at the start, James Brady shooting the lights out. I think he scored 12 points in the early rounds of the championship. He is absolutely flying. I don't think he's any massive interest in the county panel, but I really think he'd be a lad to look into. Obviously Jack's brother James, he is shooting the lights out. He is going to be needed massively this weekend, Joe, without a doubt, against Cavan Gale. So, and a big performance by JB. Yeah, James, another super footballer. And he'll be very hard handled. He's going to be a major influence for Rammer, and a bit of pressure on him there. But nothing he'll not be able to handle himself. But look, it's on a whole, Rammer are a serious outfit. Cavan Gales are a serious outfit. It's going to be a crack of a match. Great to see Paddy McNamee back as well, 37 years young, just life in the old dog yet, absolutely flying for Rammer in the championship as well. So great to have his experience about the place, Joe.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think I've ever played against Paddy, but my father would always talk about Paddy seniors, and so there's obviously football there, and I've heard many stories. He was a super footballer. So him back in the panel, is a massive addition to the Rammer boys, and again, that's what I'm saying. Their strength and depth is really a key attribute for them.
100%. And what about yourself? We were referencing Jack Brady a couple of minutes ago, playing at that centre half back position. You obviously would have played full forward with him in the under-21 campaign for Cavan years ago. So playing centre half back. And he's absolutely flying. Scored a great goal the last time out. He's going to be a major player this Sunday. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jack's a hugely intelligent footballer. He's almost like a quarterback nearly. In that role at centre back. I think maybe DCU might have tried him in it in 2012. I think it was, or 2013. I'm not sure. In the Sigerson Cup campaign, tried him at centre back, and then it worked reasonably well that year for them, and I suppose Rammer have continued to adapt that with at club level with Jack. But he's that intelligent. He could play nearly anywhere really. I suppose he joins the play late as well and gets on the scoreboard, and obviously his vision, his passing going forward. He likes to find James a lot inside. The two boys play well off other. But he's very, very smart, very, very smart footballer, and he's going to be a huge player for Rammer the weekend. Absolutely.
And of course, then we reference the players as well, heading off and taking years out, or maybe just transferring. But James McEnroe and Conor Bradley is transferred. So even referencing Conor Bradley there, like another absolutely serious player that has left the Rammer setup. And when you lose the likes of James McEnroe and Conor Bradley, and to get back where Rammer are now, it's good going, Enda.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose more clubs would have probably felt the brunt of those two caliber players leaving, but not so much with Rammer. I think Joe alluded to earlier, just the strength and depth that both sides have, them and the Gales, is huge. I think even this year Rammer have introduced a couple of players like Shawnee McAvoy there, centre forward.
Yeah, brilliant player.
Absolutely, he's one to watch. Great pace. He knows what the goals are as well, and he's a great striker of a ball off the ground. I wouldn't have been that familiar with young McAvoy until obviously we played them, and we would have drew our attention to them. But I think he had maybe a bit of a career at soccer, and he pulled the pin. He pulled the pin on that and decided to throw his lad in with GA and Rammer. But you were saying earlier as well with James Brady, maybe in with the county, I'd say definitely those two, young McAvoy and James, if they've any interest in going in, would definitely be the ones to look into the county squad. Absolutely,
100%. And obviously we were talking with James Brady there, like a lot of people saying he's one of the best both-footed players in the county, and he's proved himself this year again. He had a serious last 2 or 3 years for Rammer in the Championship Enda, so a player to look to against Cavan Gales this weekend, Enda, because everyone and Rammer alone will need to see James's power this weekend.
Yeah, he's a younger brother Jack again. He's a bright footballer too. He's got great pace, 2 great feet.
Yeah,
this is a big thing for me. Both equally as good and as strong a feet or foot, which is massive for an inside forward to have. We've got pace and can kick scores of either foot. But he looks to be a hugely confident player. He's been going really well since the very beginning of the championship, and he's rattled off maybe 5-6 points a game for Rammer. So. Yeah, look, I think across the panels, I think Rammer might be just the strongest. I think overall, having played them this year, they've 6 great forwards. They've got Trent Deck coming in off the bench, and I think Rammer, having played us, will really, I think they'll have a big say this weekend. I think they really will have a close say with where the championship goes this year.
100%. And Aido Cole, it doesn't seem to be fit at the minute, but even if he is fit for this Sunday, and obviously if Paddy McNamee inside, that bit of experience as well, and you do need experience to win championships, as you well know, throughout the years. So having Aido Cole and Paddy McNamee, definitely two good additions for Rammer.
Absolutely, Paddy's come back this year, yeah, and he's slotted right back in there. Been real steady head, experienced head amongst that forward group, and another option inside along with James there, ball winner, and he doesn't seem to, despite his age, he doesn't seem to have lost his pace a whole lot. McNamee, but again, the football is there. It's in the family and that, and he's inside to win ball and take on defenders, and to be an experienced man in there along with the young McAvoy and young Brady, and he's been a huge addition to Rammer this year. Absolutely.
100%, and it's great to see him back. Definitely a fellow of his vintage and absolutely flying for Rammer. We'll move on to Cavan Gales. Obviously, what more do you say about the Gales over the years? They've always been there, done that, and numerous medals throughout the years, and they're looking forward to this Sunday. And obviously, the likes of Gro McKernan will try to be leading the line, but they have been kind of affected. Martin Dunn's out for the rest of the year. Shawnee Johnson's packed his bags. He's retired now, managing. So obviously, big losses over the years, Joe. But they've got to a semi-final once again. Yeah,
absolutely, and Cavan Gale, as you just said it, John, Cavan Gales are always thereabouts, and a super footballing team, and the addition of Grode, obviously a super footballer too. So, they'll have plenty to say this weekend. It's as I said, for me to go in and start, I couldn't even start with both sets of teams on where they're going to be strong or weak. I haven't seen enough of them. But from what you have already said, it's just going to be a cracker of a game. And again, when you have Cavan Gales bet, that's a serious day's work done.
100%. And obviously, how much of an addition has Gro McKernan been to Cavan Gales, Joe? Because obviously he's come up from Swaddling Bar, obviously junior football, but he's absolutely coming for Cavan Gales. He's had a great championship. He's a big fellow. We've seen him do it for Cavan numerous times, year after year. So Gro McKernan has slotted in very well, Joe. Very well,
and has been a big player for them there already. And I think, I don't know what did he score, 2-10 or something like that, was it? 2-8 in one of them championship games. Like that just kind of says it in itself, doesn't it? In a nutshell, it's he's a super footballer and has been a great servant to Cavan, and that's it. And he's a big addition, as I said, to that Cavan Gales team, and he will be a big player this weekend for them against Ramor. And they, as you said there, they will look to him as well. When the going gets tough. So look, that's it. It's all to play for. It's very exciting. But yeah, they'll be, as I said, they'll be a hard bet team. Cavan Gales come the bit.
100%, and obviously we've seen kind of Grow McKernan. I think he was injured for one or two last games, wasn't fully fit. So one thing you can nearly say is Cavan Gales, obviously with Martin Dunn and Shani Johnson just not being there for this year, Joe, the scoring threat doesn't seem to be there to a degree when Grow isn't there, because obviously we see Andy Graham, he's such a good ball player. Jack Tully probably is a good bit to go before he kind of reaches the level of a senior footballer. So if you did take Grow away, you really would give Ramor a big chance this weekend.
Yeah, look, maybe so. I just, as I said before, when we first started talking about, Cavan Gales have, to me, have always had strength and depth. Ramor in the more recent times, but Cavan Gales always had quality footballers, in depth. So, if Garode wasn't playing, of course he'd be a big loss. But I think Cavan Gales are that type of a team that they'd step up to the mark, and they'd find players to replace. Obviously, replacing if he wasn't playing, he'd be super footballer. But they'd find players to fill them positions that would be of a high footballing quality.
100%, and obviously, Joe, you would have played with and against probably from a large extent. Obviously, Shani Johnson's retired, Martin Dunn's out for the rest of the year with, I think, a cruciate injury. So, how big of a loss are them two men, Joe?
Oh, massive losses to Cavan, or to Cavan Gales. And Martin's been unlucky there with a cruciate injury. And Shawnee retiring, like they will, and they're going to feel the brunt of that. Cavan Gales definitely, two great servants to Cavan again as well. Top players for the county, never mind their clubs. So they will be, they're massive losses, and that's it. But good teams like that, they seem to, the cog doesn't stop turning. They just seem to replace, any good team. Like they just seem to replace, lads, when they get injured or when they retire. And no doubt Cavan Gales will do that. That's why I said when you have that team, any Cavan Gales team, bet you have a good day's work done.
100%, and obviously they still do have the likes of Paul O'Connor inside, Niall Murray, Niall Smith, Fortune, so they are little with talent. And I know obviously people don't give the Gills weirdly a chance this year. They are still living with a lot of talent, and I know the Murrays have been very unlucky with injury, but Joe, at the end of the day, they are still top class footballers. Absolutely.
I think if you put pen to paper and wrote down all the footballers Cavan Gales have, you'd find it hard to see. I'd say they've all had county of experience at some sort of underage or minor or 21s or senior. That they just have that. They just have that quality, and always had. Always had when I was growing up as a young lad and into my senior career as such. So that's what I'm saying, that they will be hard bet. I don't know, why people would think that Cavan Gales aren't going to be there this week. They'll be very hard bet this weekend. That's why I think it'll be such a cracker of a game and again a cracker of a high quality footballing game.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And if you were to call it, obviously, like Ramor are in form this at this present minute of time. Cavan Gales probably have stumbled through a few games, but still are getting through them. So if you were to call it, Joe,
I genuinely couldn't. I'd actually my when you said that to me, what was going through my head is draw a game. That's what And look listen, I think there'll be a draw game, or else there'll be a kick of a ball either way. I couldn't see it any other way. And I could be eating my words as I normally always do, but that's what I'm predicting anyway. And I tell you, I'm no psychic.
Brilliant stuff, brilliant stuff. And what about yourself? Obviously the team that is Cavan Gales, obviously they've been there, done that the last couple of years. They obviously haven't won a senior championship in 2017, but at the end of the day, they really have been there, done that. Little with talent, little with experience. So it's a big game for them this weekend, and
yeah, massive game. They're going to look to try and get back to championship. They haven't won it since 2017. And they've Kieran Donnelly there seems to be throwing in a number of young blood and a number of young lads there with the likes of Jack Tully and I think Emmanuel Shehu, I think is his second name. Yeah. Just a number of lads in the forward line. But again, Martin Dunn and Johnson, these lads, even Micheál Ling, massive losses, and you're going to be hard to replace that. But obviously with Grove coming in there, whether he starts inside or not, he's going to be a handful. But you nearly have to stop the ball going into Grove when he's inside. But they're middle eight as such. They're half back line, middle of the field, half forward, and they're still very, very good, still very strong. The likes of Niall Smith, even Rob Maloney Durham is back. You have to meet Kevin Mee in there as well, and Dara Sexton there. They're all very, very good players. Again, have huge experience as well. And are going to have a huge say in how they do this weekend, But Grove has been a massive addition. He's a massive handful, and I think Rammer probably, we're going to have to try and stop the ball going in. I think around the middle this weekend, that middle field, half back, half forward is going to be worth one loss. I think, to be honest, with this weekend. I think where Grove plays is going to be massive. If he's inside, you're going to have to deny a lot of ball going into him, because once it goes in, it's hard not to see Grove from winning it. And if he wins it inside, it could be lights out.
100%. And obviously, how much of an addition has Grove been to this Cavan Gales setup? Because obviously he was playing his football. First wasn't part of the junior championship, but he has been dominant for Cavan, the senior panel, in the last couple of years. So how much of an addition has Grove been to this Cavan Gales panel, Enda?
Yeah, absolutely massive. As Joe said, he's unbelievable footballer. He can play on here really between middle of the field, half forward, full forward. He's going to be a threat, no matter where he lines out. And it's clear with Martin Dunn, obviously, picking up an injury there this year. He's probably had to go inside there and win ball and lay it off to the likes of Andy Graham's, the Porrick Sexton, the younger lads coming off the shoulder and that. And he's been a huge addition. Gales probably looked at him early to come in at middle of the field. They probably felt themselves they probably needed someone to slot in there, but he's massive addition, as he would be to any team across the country. A massive footballer, and he's again a huge say this weekend. That man.
100%. And obviously the Gales are a little bit talented. You have the likes of Fortunes, the Murray brothers, Niall Smith, and everything goes with that. So Paul O'Connor up front as well, Enda. So it really is, it has the makings of a mouthwatering game, because you probably have the best forwards in the county playing this weekend in both games. But this game will really take on life of its own, Enda.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be a shootout, really. The Gales again. I haven't seen much of the Gales, to be brutally honest with you. I've seen a bit of them against Lara in their quarter final. But other than that, I haven't seen a whole pile of them. But again, like as Joe said, when you've the Gales beaten, you've the day's work done. You can never write them off. They're a championship side, loads of talent. Younger lads there. We'll probably look at the likes of Martin Dunn and Johnson and Ling and these lads gone. They're going to look to make a name for themselves and step up. Paul O'Connor as well, experienced man. They're going to look to try and step up and catch fire this weekend in the semi-final and the latter end of the championship.
What's Joe laughing at? What's up?
I was just laughing there when you said the best forwards in the county. I thought Enda Duff thought he was going to say something there to you. No, not at me. I was playing stuff and I didn't have a smart comment there.
Say what you want, lads. It's go.
Why does are numbered, I think, tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Yeah, just referring back to Cavan Gales, obviously ended and they haven't won a senior championship since 2017. It's not going to be any easier for them this year, because you've Gown flying, Rammer flying, Kingscourt flying, so it really will be tough for them this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the teams that in the latter end of the championship, you could have picked them out, and each of them will look to beat each other, But again, like I said, the Gales side, they're probably a number of lads again, as I said already, going to look to step up. Lads that you probably aren't household names are in the Cavan Gales side. A number of young lads there. Kieran Donnelly's introduced. that are going to look to obviously step up on that, and they're going to look to push on again and again try and get another championship into the town there for the Gales, you know.
And as I was saying to Joe, obviously, if you did eliminate the threat of Grove and Kiernan up front, and would there be in bother? Because I think Paul O'Connor, he's probably coming back from an injury. Jack Tully probably has a bit to go to probably get up to that level. And Andy Graham seems to be a very good ball carrier from out around the middle, and same with Pork Sexton. So if Grove wasn't probably about, would there be struggles with Cavan Gills?
Potentially, yeah, as a main ball winner inside, yeah, they might struggle a small bit, but again, they've got around the middle area, the field half back line. They've got good players still there, you know, that can get forward and get scores. And again, they've experience, you know, they've championship medals in their back pocket. You can never write the Gales off, and you know, the likes of Andy Graham and these lads there, you know, they're confidence players, and you know, if the Gales are going really well, those lads can take off, you know, and the Gales, you know, can really catch fire and be very, very difficult to beat.
100% of the game. We're really looking forward to this again. And if you were to call it, what would you be thinking?
Draw.
All day long.
Two draws. I suppose, look, having played Rammer, I might just give them the nod. You know, they're going really, really well. I haven't played them there. You know, they gave us a lesson in Breffni Park under lights that night. Haven't seen much of the Gales. Again, they seem to be just getting through games as well, doing enough, no more than Kingscourt there. I think that's experience for him, you know, in championship football. But probably just give you know, Rammer the nod based on playing them and the way they're going this year. They're very good. They've got frightening pace up front. You know, they've Barkey and Jack in the fence. We've got a couple of lads, Laurie Caffrey in the middle of the field, and that are playing really, really well. And I just feel Rammer might just have enough. If they can stop ball going into Grove and Kiernan, that be if he's inside or that. And they can have a big input around middle eight. You know, Simon Cadden, these lads, an excellent game. I think they might just they might have the 2 or 3 extra forwards that the Gales don't have, and that might just get them across the line. But just
looking at a picture of Brian O'Connell here, like what are they eating up in Virginia? Joe, do you have any idea, or is it just gym worker?
What's that? Sorry.
I'm just looking at a picture of Brian O'Connell here, the midfielder for Rammer. He just looks in tremendous nick. What are they eating up in Rammer? Do you have any idea, Virginia?
No, I could do a bit of it, you know, send it on my way. No, a super footballer. Footballer. I remember coming into when I was involved with the Cavan panel, wasn't for too long, but he was coming in as a young lad then, and he was you could see that there was great serious talent there. And I believe, from, you know, as Enda said there, like, when you're going through the championship games, you know, you're only kind of concentrating on yourselves and who you're playing next, but you always hear players who are playing well and doing well for the team. And he's been one player for Rammer, and one player in the county that I've heard has been playing some great football and has a serious talent.
100%. We've seen the last couple of weeks, lads. Go to you first, Joe. And this Rice McMenamin has been added into the Cavan backroom team. Mickey Graham's coming in for 2022, and obviously Dermot McCabe left the fold. So Rice McMenamin, a good addition to the Cavan setup, Joe.
Absolutely. You know, Ryan McMenamin has an All Ireland, has as many All Irelands as he 3. You know, like a super footballer. You know, and I think Ryan Ryan was a cornerback, Mickey Graham was a forward. You know, that's, to me, they'll complement each other well, I would presume. But look at a great addition. Anybody who's that experience and knows how to win, you have to say is a massive addition to Cavan.
What about yourself, Enda, the addition of Rice McMenamin?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a very good addition. Obviously, you know, he's been, you know, involved in the cold face of it, or the front line of it, particularly with management. You know, having been recently involved with Fermanagh, and then before that, obviously, I think he might have been selected with Rory Gallagher. You know, so I think they were in an Ulster final in 2018, and with huge help to Rory then as well. But yeah, look, there's no denying, you know, what that man has won on the football field. You couldn't but respect him when he comes into the dressing room, and you know, he's going to bring probably a steeliness to him, you know, the way he played himself, and an element, I'd say, of defending to it, you know, and just bring a bit of steel to that Cavan team. But there's no denying what that man has done. You know, He'd have no respect as soon as he comes into the room, and again, he's involved in management, and he'll be a big addition there. As Joe said, he will probably compliment Mickey in that he was a defender, and Mickey's a forward, and he will be a huge benefit, and he will be in the know as regards Ulster football and that. Obviously, we don't know what way that's going to go with these new proposals, whether that's going to be a thing in 2022 or not. But yeah, look, a big appointment for Cavan, and the only way is up as regards Cavan. They're going to target Division 4 and look for promotion and hopefully go from there.
It'd be interesting to see Cavan's black and yellow card with Ricey involved next year. It'd be interesting. I don't know what way that'll go. And Joe, just briefly touching on Cavan for next year, we obviously definitely need promotion after. I know we were saying it probably this time last year to get out of Division 3, but we've got relegated to Division 4, so it is vitally important that we do go up, Joe.
It is. Look, there's no point. Beating around the bush. I think Cavan know where they are, and them group of players, look, they'll come together and they'll get themselves together, and hopefully, there's no point talking about it or putting pressure on these lads. Let them go out and do what they have to do in the field, and I think they know it themselves in the back of their minds that they want to be out of Division 4, and hopefully, you come out of that and progress from there, because they're a super footballing team. They've won Ulster. They've an Ulster championship behind them. There's no reason why they can't be up competing in the higher divisions and being successful up there, and then being successful in the championship. And it give it. I know that with the Ulster championship when they did win it, it gave a massive lift to the Cavan support and the Cavan people. So. That's it. Look, as I said there, them lads will regroup and they've a new man in now, and that's it. The show goes on, and they'll get it together, and hopefully they'll do the business and get out of that Division 4.
100%. And how, I suppose, important was it that we did keep Mickey Graham on board, because he did win us Ulster Championship in 2020, so it's good to kind of have that bit of stability too, Joe.
Absolutely, yeah, and the experience is there, and Mickey a very shrewd character and a great manager, and that's been seen through his history with Cavan and Mullinjachta and so on. So it's massive. It's just great to see him still there, and hopefully that they've gone down there, so hopefully they can come back out of it. And he's the opportunity now this year, and I'd say he's happy with that to get the opportunity to come back out of it.
100%. And what about yourself, Enda? It is vital that Cavan really do go straight back up next year, because we couldn't be staying down there for too long.
Yeah, no, look, them, as Joe said, them lads are going to look to, they've got down there, and they're going to look to try and, they're going to look to try and get up through the divisions. As again, there's absolutely no reason why they're actually good enough, to get up out of Division 4 and play in higher divisions and compete with better teams in higher divisions, and look to push on for the championship again. With Ricey coming in, and that might be a bit of freshness that might be needed. Fresh voice in the dressing room that might be needed, and Mickey there as well. It brings a bit of continuity to it as well, and he's a Cavan man at the end of the day, and it would have hurt him. He'd be a proud Cavan man. It would have hurt him, with the relegation and the way the championship panned out in the end, but he would have looked at, try and put things right this year, and again, look for promotion, which would be massive for them. You can imagine them players would have been hurt as well by it. And once the club championships is parked and that, and the pre-season starts, then boys are going to look to push on, target Division 4 big time.
100%. And how important was it that we did keep Mickey Graham on board? Because I know there was obviously calls for him to get the door after the game against at the Wicklow game, Tyrone game perhaps, but it is important that we do kind of create that bit of stability in Cavan football, because we have been known for maybe getting rid of players, getting rid of managers, but it is so important that we do keep that bit of stability ended, because we do need to kind of build blocks. I know we did win Ulster in 2020, but we need to get out of Division 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Stability, can be huge, especially when you do have a poor year. As you said, there would be lots of people maybe calling for your head, but it's important, just to stick through it and to keep going. And as I said already, the Ryan McMenamin coming in might be that little bit of freshness and a new voice that might be a huge thing for Mickey and that. And as I said, Mickey's a Cavan man, and he's going to look to try and put the wrongs, as they say, and I can imagine a lot of the players as well, and Mickey have built up you know, I suppose a bit of a bond with other, and you know, they know the way Mickey wants it, you know, the way he's looking to go, and the way he wants to play it, and you know, they're going to look to put things right for 2022. You know.
Has Mickey rang you after you said?
He'll be ringing me anyway.
What about is it? Or what was
Joe,
it?
Joe was 2 games left in the championship. You know.
Yeah, and then he's going to have well, it might be 2, but I tell you, he's going to have a good winter. So yeah.
They're setting up a junior team again, maybe.
Yeah, go back to juniors at the over 40. Is that what you're saying?
That's it, the Masters.
The nightclub's open this weekend as well, lads. So the drinking ban will have to probably kick in if he's wearing to go back. But
I don't know.
Yeah,
a couple of pints, you know.
Happy enough playing with Mulhern and pushing things on that way.
You know. Lads, that was an absolute privilege. Really looking forward to the games this weekend. And of course, this podcast is brought to you by OrgoRetro.com and Attack Sports. Use my promo code JMac podcast to get 15% off on OrgoRetro.com and get the best skins, gloves, and equipment on Atak.ie. Be attack minded. Joe, best luck this weekend. Thanks a million.
Thanks,
Cheers.
lads.
All the best, lads. All the best. Right, John.